Hello, everyone.
Here
Welcome,
they all are.
welcome back.
I feel like I've got the pattern sorted in my head now for my. I described it to someone the other day. It's the unofficial, official alternative because I'm doing the square with the triangles. And I feel like I've got it now. So I'm going to try and knit and talk.
Okay, let's see. You'll make a progress. Well, you can start while I'm talking, and you can start the knitting
Yes.
meanwhile. So, welcome everyone. Welcome back, or welcome if it's your first time joining us. Love having you here. And it's been a really tough and interesting and eventful week in many respects. And of course, like when it comes to the knit along, the thing is like the reason why we're continuing, because Martin and I, we felt that it's very important to have this conversation, because through this conversation, we all thinking about like what sounds right to us, what touches our souls, what argument for one side or another rings true to us. And I want to talk a little bit about the reaction to the last week's Zoom that we posted.
Doesn't it feel like longer than a week, though?
It feels like it's been a while. So I posted on Fiberchats last week's Zoom, and I got a lot of really beautiful, touching comments, and I got a lot of really stinging, criticizing comments that I had really hard time dealing with. And on top of dealing with all the negative comments, and I was trying to respond to all of them because I felt like it was important to show my point of view on that and explain why I felt so strongly about the way I felt without disregarding other opinions. We didn't have to continue with Humans of Westknits. We could have just disappeared. We didn't have to post that Zoom. It was very tough time when like things were at the peak of its heat, and we didn't have to post. Like I didn't have to post it on my channel and put my name behind it. But I felt very strongly about what I was saying. I felt strongly that it's Steven's design, and we obviously all love and respect him. Otherwise, we wouldn't join this MKAL. So I wanted to share in comments like what I was thinking, like even the worst comments that like I didn't even know how to respond. On top of it, my family, my husband is Israeli. We were dealing with all the news coming out of that region, and we had some friends affected by that attack. So I was juggling all of those emotions. So when Steven posted update, when the update happened on Ravelry, and I read that long email, I said, that's it, I'm done, I'm quitting. Because we went from this turmoil of emotions where we were thinking, oh, like maybe like it's not that bad, but then some people are affected, so why would we continue with something that affects some of us? Let's just be kind about it, and let's pivot, and let's frog. And then I started working on the alternative version, and that to me was like beautiful because the community came together, the community came with creative solutions. So to me, that was like the best part of that decision. But then when I saw Steven's video, and you could see how raw and vulnerable and broken he was over that, and we kept saying it's his design. We join it because we believe in him as a designer. We join him because we respect him as a designer. We didn't know what it's going to be. It was a mystery. It's still a mystery, but like in Steven we trust, Steven we support. So when I saw him so broken over it, I turned around and I said, I'm starting again. So that was my decision I told it to all my friends. I talked to I want to thank you all, and especially people who reached out to me through DMs over the weekend, who kept that conversation going, even people with whom I disagreed, and like, but we still had that conversation open, and that support means so much to you. And honestly, this is why I started with the Humans of Westknits last year, because I wanted that sense of community. I wanted to get to know people who participate in this MKAL, and I wanted to get new friends through that. And that support meant absolutely everything, because I was going through personal hard time, and I was reading all the negative comments, and they were like really affecting me, but like I stood by what I decided. So I don't want to disregard anybody's feelings, because I'm sure we all change our feelings 10,000 times through this time. Since last Thursday, each one of us went through the highs, through the lows, through feeling isolated, through feeling attacked, through feeling bullied, through all of those emotions. And we all, at some point, I bet, wanted to quit it. But yet here we are, right? So I wanna talk to you today about the new version of this clue. The most beautiful part of that message from Stephen was that he didn't want to hurt anybody. It came from the place of love. He didn't want his name to be associated with something that can hurt somebody. He didn't want it to be associated with that hateful symbol. He didn't want people to even think about it anymore. He wanted that MKAL to come back to the place of love, to come back to the place of light, to come back to what makes all of us this lovely community.
Yeah.
So if you disagree with us, we respect your decision. We do not want to force anybody to do anything they don't want to do. It's everyone's individual decision. We all have different backgrounds. We all have different experiences in life. We react to things differently. But both Martin and I, ask you that if you keep the first original design, please do not show it to us here on this forum. You can share your amended designs, you can share your new clue one. You can keep your first original design and continue. We're not telling you not to, it's your decision. We're not trying to disrespect anyone, we're not trying to bully anyone, but this is our forum. And we, after that video, cannot in clear conscience continue to be open to like every single opinion out there. We open to you doing you, but please don't show pictures on this Zoom. That's all I have to say about it. So I would like for you to, and if you have decided to continue, you more than welcome to share your point of view and your opinions. I just ask you not to show it to my audience. I wanna ask you to tell me what you were thinking this weekend. And before you, like while you're thinking, like if you want to participate in this discussion or if you want to volunteer for this discussion, I want to mention one of us, Anne Toby's Needs. I was watching that YouTube channel, and to me it was absolutely beautiful, because Anne started with like, I'm so excited about this MKAL, and the first clue came out, and this is what I'm knitting, and I don't really see the reference that was said, so I'm just continuing with it, to like, well, I don't want to be in the camp that hurts somebody, so I'm gonna pivot and I'm gonna knit another version to that's it. Like I watched that video and I can't continue and I'm restarting. So to me, like to watch that change of heart, that she didn't edit it out, she didn't change it, she just posted all of it, all of those emotions on her YouTube, was brilliant, because I feel like we all went through a variation of that. And it was very
Exactly.
honest and very brave, you know, because somebody commented on the previous Zoom that this not gonna age well and you're gonna regret that you posted it out there, and you should explain people this and that, and you should teach them this. And I think part of the beauty of this Humans of Westknits is seeing that progression, seeing that some of us changed our minds and some of us didn't change our minds, and some of us talked about something and it clicked to somebody else, and that's what made us change our mind. So I want to continue this conversation. For those of you who wants to raise your hand, it's in reactions. If you click on reactions, you can, there is an option of raising your hand. Catherine, would you like to unmute yourself?
Sure. I'm at work today, and so I just want to say this briefly, because I was one of the people I didn't see it initially, and I did some research, but I also did not want to do something that would look badly, so I spent probably 36 hours over the weekend. I was up till 2 a.m. 2 nights and 1 a.m. the night in between, working on this sort of amended pattern that I really, really loved. And then on Monday, I was knitting the next section, and Stephen's video dropped, and I just, so I stopped and I unraveled the part of section 5 that I had started. And I was very sad. I wanted to give Stephen a hug, but I also really, really loved what I had worked so hard on. That was the third version that I had worked on over the weekend. I'd gone through 2 others and ripped and started again. But I knew that I couldn't call it a Westknits MKAL and continue. So I wound all my yarn up again into all the little balls, and I went out and I did yard work for 2 hours, and I put up my Christmas lights, because in October it was a really beautiful day, but in November there could be snow, and it's much easier to put it up when it's plus 20 than minus 20. And I came back and I started over, and so far this is where I am at.
Nice.
And I'm doing a seed stitch for the darkest color in the void. That's my goal, is to kind of have the things coming at you out of the void, kind of cosmic. And so we'll see. I can tell you magic loop is not my friend. My Xiaogu knitting needles do not like to bend that much to make the little loop. And my joins, because I was joining the colors were just 2 rows of each color, they're very sloppy at the joining point, and I'm hoping to fix that when I tuck them in. But like I said, it took me out. I was very frustrated, I have to say, but I also could see where Stephen was coming from, and I knew that I would like to be able to walk into his shop with my shawl and be triumphant and be able to take it to a conference and have somebody recognize it as the MKAL shawl without any negativity associated with it. And so then my brain switched into creative mode. It's like, okay, how do we make this box yours and different, but still, Stephen's? And so now I just wish I had longer DPNs in that size, or a very small 3.25 millimeter circular needle. But that's, it was a big journey, and and somebody said, but you enjoyed knitting it, didn't you? When you were sitting there on Sunday and sitting there on Saturday knitting away at your sample, you were having fun, weren't you? Well, wasn't that just like watching a movie or watching, a hockey game or something that's now over, and you're gonna knit it again? And so that's the philosophy that I took with it.
Thank you. Jane, would you like to unmute yourself?
So like everybody else, I think I went through I'd done 3/4 of clue 1. Then it was like, oh no. So I ripped it back, did a new version of it, really liked that. And the second time when Stephen said, no, we're not doing that, I will admit I threw it across the room in absolute, I'm just out. And then I stopped and thought, who am I to if a designer says they do not want to be associated with this, who am I to say, no, you will be associated with this? So I ripped it out again. If you're going to rip out, have green, because frogging and green goes together beautifully. It's sticks and string. And if I can knit clue 1 3 times in a week, clue 4 has nothing on me now. So I've just gone with the new, improved clue 3, clue 1, version 3, clue 1. And you know what? If this is what had come out last Thursday, I'd have just knitted it and gone, oh, look, we're off. So
I think it's a great point, because the first clue was actually short for a clue in comparison to twists and turns last year, which like I had hard time finishing the clue 1 on time. This time it was like really not that big of a piece of knitting. So I bet if the first clue didn't have any issues, people would complain that they already done and they bored. Well, thank you so much, Jane. Erica, would you like to unmute yourself?
Yes. Well, it was a roller coaster. This is the first time in 8 years that I participate that this happened. I didn't saw it. So I was on the first castle of the second castle party, and I was pretty far. I finished it that night, about 2:00. So I was very happy, and I was with the Shetland lace, because I got 100 projects. So I went to work Monday evening, exploding DMs and emails. So the first reaction was for me, he attended it, so I need it. I don't see it. I asked my friends, they didn't see it. But so I continued. But I saw the Saturday Zoom and your discussion about it. And I thought, yeah, it's a good, valid point, because I don't see it. My friends don't see it. Maybe someone else sees it. And I don't want to wear a shawl like that. And I totally understood. So I get creative. So I get my watercolors and the sketch and everything. So that I finished about halfway through. Then I saw this really moving video on YouTube from Stephen. You can clearly see that he was really upset and hurt. I don't want to create hurt in my show. So the second time I forget, because I was, I think, afraid for yarn chicken. But my hubby said, you got enough yarn. You got lovely yarn. When you run out, you have more hair. I didn't know he was paying attention. So you have more hair, you have a lot of yarn. So it creates a unique show, but with the intention of the designer. So that's what I did. So I started again this morning on the new improved fresh start. No, I don't have any real progress, because I'm on the last from the first repeat. But I get it done for the second clue, no problem. But I want to say that I changed my heart a lot of times. I wasn't frustrated because I don't mind to frog. I don't mind to knit everything 4 or 5 times because I don't understand, or I can count. So I want to say that it's really nice you do like a fresh start, and tomorrow is second clue, and we don't talk no more about clue 1, because it's knitting, like Stephen says. I didn't understand such, I understand the people who saw the sign, but after that it became really, I don't know, it became an energy like I never experienced, like in an MKAL, and I don't like that kind of feeling in my heart, and I don't want to put it out. So I started over again for the third time, and I don't mind because tomorrow is clue 2. And you start over.
I'm sure
Fresh start.
all of us are very ready, whether or not our meeting is going to be completed by second clue. I'm sure
Oh, well.
we're all waiting very anxiously for the second clue to come
It's
up.
always a real good Christmas present.
Right. Well, thank you so very much. I appreciate you sharing your
Okay.
story with us. Thank you.
Okay.
Anne, do you want to unmute yourself?
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Thank you for that lovely introduction before, by the way. Yeah, it was Martin's fault that I decided to do Vlogtober. I hadn't planned to do that, and I was so excited about the MKAL when it started, so excited. And I loved the initial design. I didn't see it. I hold my hand up. I did not see it. I'm a quilter. So for me, I saw a quilting shape. And I was very excited. Then when I saw all the kerfuffle that went on, and I thought, oh, well, maybe I should not do that then. And I'll change. I'll do the next one. So I had gotten this far. And I had changed up, I forget the name, I think her name is Jeanette. She had done a different color version of it. And I thought, okay, I'll do that. It doesn't show the horrible sign, but it does show a very pretty geometric, which to me was what it was all about. Then the next day I saw Stephen's post and I thought, oh, okay, I'm not going to do that then. So then I started doing the one which I think Martin is doing now, which is the 3 sets of triangles that you change the color. So I started to do that one. But then I saw his next video and I actually cried a little bit. And I have just started designing my own sock patterns. I've done 3 of them right now. And it takes a lot of work to jot the pattern down on a piece of paper, transfer that with yarn to an actual thing, then write it down, then get test knitters to do it, then put it out. That takes a lot of work. And when he changed to the newer version, which originally I didn't like, and that's why I started to do this version. But then I thought to myself, yeah, but this version isn't Stephen's. I'm doing a Stephen's Westknits knit along. I'm not doing somebody else's knit along. I'm doing his. I want to learn from him. I have never in my life done a square in the round. I mean, that doesn't even compute. A square in the round. And when I first started it, so this is as far as I am, when I first started it and I was working on the square, the middle, the first part, I kept trying to stretch it because I kept thinking, it's supposed to be a square. And I kept trying to pull on it and stretch it. And it wasn't making any sense to me. Sorry, my dog's trying to sit down. This is Toby, by the way, of Toby Knits.
Hello, Toby.
And he's sitting all over me here. And I couldn't, and then I thought, how am I supposed to get the stitches down the sides? I mean, they're on the top and the bottom. How are they I couldn't in my head get it. But I thought, okay, keep going in. We trust Stephen. Let's just figure it out. And I'm a sock knitter. So I thought, okay, well, when I knit socks and I use magic loop all the time. And I thought, okay, pretend you're making a pair of socks. So then I started holding it like this and knitting it like this, and it was making more sense. And then it was like, oh, it's magic. Look, there are stitches on all 4 sides. How did that happen? Oh my God, that's so exciting. So I just am loving this whole MKAL again. I don't care about all the stuff that went on. I'm not interested in the other design he did. It's gone. It's past. This is what we're doing, and I'm loving it.
It's funny because like I had the same exact discussion with another friend who was like, I casted it on, but it doesn't look like a square. And we were going back and forth about like, is it going to turn into a square? Can you turn a circle? It looks like a diamond. It doesn't look like a square. We went like, it was like long discussion, you know?
It was it, and it was. I couldn't get it in my head, and I kept thinking, okay, but I use magic loop all the time for socks. What am I not getting here? You know, and so what I did was I put a marker at the start of my round, and I keep moving it up every 4 rows, and I've got my little stitch markers in. You can't see them there, but then on the second side, at the end, I changed and put a very different stitch marker. It's a little star. So I know when I pick my yarn up, am I on the front needle or am I on the back needle of the one round?
Right.
So, you know, now I've got it. I don't even need the pattern. I just sit and knit with it and change my colors. And I just love it. But I've learned something. And this is why we do a Stephen West make-along, because we're learning.
And
You
it's
know,
interesting
and-
because it's a simple design. When you look at the picture, it seems so simple, but the fact that there is this technique makes it something very interesting.
Exactly. So anyway, that's why I am doing the new one and I'm loving it. And I hope you all embrace it too.
Thanks, Anne.
You're welcome.
Alice, would you like to unmute yourself?
Hi, everyone. So I had gone to our knitting group on Thursday evening and determined that it was, at that time, the design was not really for sociable knitting, that I needed to kind of spend a minute with it on my own. And so I went home and didn't get to it until the next Saturday night, I guess it was, when the design had changed. And as a designer, I really have to say I support designers because, as the previous person said, it takes a lot to come up with an idea, to then knit it and write it up and send it out into the world. And then there may be edits. So it just takes time. So my original yarn I really liked, but realized that I had chosen 2 DK yarns and so needed to get more fine-grained. So I ended up with different yarns, and I sat down, and everything that's going on in the world this weekend was a lot. And I was grateful actually to Stephen for coming up with a design so quickly and so relaxing in the midst of a lot of really hard news. And so I'm grateful for that. This is the first time that I've knit one of Stephen's designs. I tend to be a little bit more classic. So it was out there for me, but my knitting group was doing it and I wanted to join in. And is it okay to show?
Absolutely.
I finished the first clue, and because it is on my round needles, you may not be able to see it all, but I'm really thrilled with it. And I was delighted because a couple of the yarns are from our local yarn shop and a couple are from India or that I actually love to support as well. So, and as the previous person had said, when you hold it in half with magic loop, which I'm at the halfway, I'm ready for the next clue. You can kind of really see how it comes together. So anyway, that is just my small story. And I think there's been a lot going on in the world that's really tough for a lot of people that I know and loved ones. And I just think more kindness. And I'm very grateful for the simple, relaxing, meditative design that Stephen created.
Thanks, Alice. Barb, would you like to unmute yourself?
I'm a little bit of a mess today, so sorry about that. I knitted I started really early and I knitted I saw some of the controversy and I knitted with some mohair and I thought, well, that'll soften everything and make it better. I got halfway through and I go, no, I can see that. I don't like it. So I decided, well, I'll switch up the colors. So I continued on switching colors and I still didn't like it. So then I ripped out the center and I did color blocking. did my own version. It was very simple, and I really couldn't see anything wrong with it. But then he put out the information that you couldn't really post, and he wanted us to switch. So for the fourth time, I went through and ripped out the center, and now I have this one. And my colors were colors that well, you'll see. Can you see those? They're black and red and grays. And so if I had knitted the original pattern, you would have really seen something terrible. So I I don't know if I showed the right side. There it is. So I reknitted it. I just ripped out the center and knitted in, and happy I changed.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. Tanya, would you like to unmute yourself?
Thank you, Irina. So I had gotten pretty far before I had decided to change, and when I finally made the decision, though, I was just at peace with it, because really and truly, I like doing scrappy projects. So this is like, so I just wound all the little pieces, I tied them all together, and I'm doing like a little, so I'm excited. I think I'm gonna crochet it straight. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm kind of excited because I'm from a ways away, but a little bit from where Steven's from. And I thought, you know, he asked nicely. He asked us to do something different. He said, please. And so I'm gonna do something different like he asked.
Can I just say I'm a huge fan of your colors? Those are my favorite colors on the planet. So
my husband too.
Thank you
He
for
helped pick 'em
sharing
out.
it.
Thank you.
Sabine, would you like to unmute yourself?
Hi, I hope you can see me.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
I wasn't, this is my first MKAL, and I wasn't going to participate because I was kind of confused by the graphicness of it, but it's kind of in the title, I guess. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to watch this. If it include 2 or 3 or 4, something that I really like, I might just get the pattern and get the yarn and just go along. And when the controversy started, I was confused, not by the thing itself, but by the near hatred there was in some comments. And I saw Stephen's video on Monday, and I really felt bad for him, because not only does he have to do his entire thing new, clue 2, 3, and 4 will have to be redone, because he's having his middle part and he's working out or up or down or wherever, and he can't take his old videos because this has the old, now defunct clue 1. And then I went to his Instagram, and first I was kind of happy that the comments were so positive, and then the negativity started to come in, and that really got me so upset that I decided, okay, don't really go for graphic things on knitting projects. And I've never had a shawl. I never did this. So I downloaded the pattern. Then I saw the granny square design thing, and I thought, this is cute. So I'm going to do the granny square design thing. And I didn't do myself any favors with my yarn choice because it's all mohair. And can you see this?
Yeah.
So it's a white, gray, dark gray, and black thing, and it goes out from the lightest color. So I think the way that this has been handled, and the way you've been talking about this, I really like. This is why I joined the Zoom, and this is my first time here. And by the way, Martin, I watched a lot of your videos today, and that was detrimental to my money thing, because I ordered a lot of yarn that you been knitting with. So thank you.
Sorry.
It's like I spent like almost 200 euros on yarn because I was like, oh, this is nice. I want that. Oh, heck,
Always an
yeah, I want
always
that.
an enabler. Bad. I'm happy to be bad
Yes, yeah.
influence.
So I think I'm gonna have this done by tomorrow evening or Friday morning, and then I'll watch Clue 2. And I just hope there's no brioche.
We'll
the
be all
next-
right. We'll get there together if there is.
Okay.
Denise said Martin Fold could be our catchphrase with question mark.
It's Martin's fault. Yeah, everything is.
But what I said, I'm gonna
start.
carry
I'm
on.
just gonna. Oh, sorry.
No, I can't. I've dropped a stitch on my triangle, and now all of my slip stitches are undoing, and I'm trying to go back a row, and I think I'm going to end up having to rip the entire triangle out and start again.
Oh well.
Oh,
more knitting
no.
time.
Every time I go back a stitch, another stitch unravels, and it's Mark's.
I
And
can't
if it
go
looks
back
a bit
because there's no
funky,
hair, so
he's going to say, "What's going on there?" And I'm going to go, "I don't know."
Well, thank
it'll
you
get done.
Thank
It
you
will
so
get done.
much, Subin. Yeah, you should wear that shirt again. Austin, do you wanna unmute yourself?
Hello.
Hello.
So I was doing the alternate version. I got past the first 4 repeats. And I was gonna do changes, but I didn't like it, so I just frogged it. And then the colors that I'm using kind of reminds me of like my Hispanic heritage. I used to be about like the Portugal gemstone, and so it's also kind of inspires me with that, and also like the Day the Dead is Sugar Skulls. So I frogged it yesterday, and I did it's like a skull grinding square. So I'm kind of like
Oh, that's
gonna
beautiful.
honor like my Hispanic heritage.
That's beautiful.
For the center, for crochet for the center.
Lovely.
Thank you. Nancy, would you like to unmute yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Hi, Martin. Hi, Irina. Well, like everyone else, I also went through that roller coaster of emotions. Friday, when I guess the controversy started, I was actually watching my 4 grandkids because the 2 older ones didn't have school that day. So I was at my daughter's. I mean, you can imagine 4 kids under 10. One of them is 6 months old. I was pretty busy. And so I had no clue. But finally, at some point, I had a chance to grab my phone, and my knitting BFF, Ida, who's also on, messaged me. Yes, hi, Ida. Advised me of what was happening. And, initially you're just like a little taken aback. And I really hadn't been online. I hadn't really seen too much. I mean, of course I had seen the clue because I'm one of those that skips ahead in the video. And I'm one of those that did not see anything negative. And so I just, I thought I'm going to rest on it and think about it and just let time pass and stuff. And then over the weekend, as things progressed and Stephen sent out that revised clue 1, I still continued contemplating. I wasn't sure what I was going to do. Oh, and then the other thing I want to add is there are 11 of us locally in our group doing it. So I felt really bad because some of them had, like, probably more than half had never participated, had never done a Stephen West anything, and I felt so bad because I thought, oh my God, this is supposed to be so much fun. I hyped it all up, I got all these people to join, and so I was dealing with those emotions, feeling like, man, they're never going to want to do this again. It's all my fault. But then at the same time, I'd say, well, things happen, right? We can't anticipate everything. And so just tried to continue positively and encourage everyone in our little group. We have a WhatsApp group, and we just continued communicating. And then eventually, finally on, I think I started Saturday, the 7th evening. I decided to do a mitered square. And it's going to be hard to see because it's on the needles. So this is what I opted for. It's actually 4 mitered squares. They each start in the center and go out. So that's what I decided to do. And then of course Monday when Stephen released that video, like so many others, I was completely, I just wanted to reach across the screen and hug him, completely moved and touched and felt so bad for him. can't even imagine. Here I'm worried about my little group. Imagine getting all that, you know, from every avenue, getting, you know, the messages, the, you know, all the drama going towards you when you're the one that spearheads it, you know. So yeah, my heart just went out to him. And so, but yeah, you know, we're going forward. We're staying positive. We're still gonna have fun. In the grand scheme of things, it's just one little piece of the puzzle, right? And I don't think, you know, especially once we're wearing it around our necks or around our shoulders, it's really not going to be that visible. So if we modify the first version, do the simple, you know, revised version 3, or do a granny square or whatever we do, you know, in the grand scheme of things, it's really not going to, I think, affect the overall finished object. And I think our joy, it's just, you know, what we make of it. You know, if we go into it positively with a positive outlook and enjoy it, have fun, support Stephen, I think we'll have a good time. That's
Thank
my
you.
opinion.
Thank you. Dorothy, do you
welcome.
want to unmute yourself?
Hi, guys. Martin, Irina, can you hear
Hi.
me?
Yeah. Hi.
Hi. So, you know, the usual story, I'd almost finished.
Dorothy, I
And
might say one thing. When I said that I predict that yours is going to be twists and turns, I didn't mean that.
yeah, I remember when you interviewed me and you asked one of the questions like, how often when you do a pattern does it end up looking like what it was meant to be, or do you put your spin on it? And I said, oh, you know, sometimes. But yeah, I guess I put my spin on it because I was almost done with and then I saw Stephen's video and I thought, oh, why am I trying to put lipstick on a pig type of thing, you know? And I thought, what do I normally do as a day job is we are constantly dealing with oopsies and the things that go wrong, and we have to course correct. And so my whole Instagram is showing samples of costume bits that I do and how I make it. And how is this not different from any other thing that I've ever made? So I did not frog mine back because, as I always say, there are no mistakes, only prototypes. Sorry if it's noisy, but they're installing a window as we speak, a Portuguese window. Anyway, so, but I couldn't very well leave it alone. So I did mine. It is still a square. I don't know if you can see, but it is a square, but I've done 3 changes. I introduced this, I was always planning on doing that, the silver that was left over from a prototype I did on a costume for Star Trek. But I also realized, okay, this is a time to, what did I also not like about that last one? It wasn't just the hate symbol. It was, oh my God, I'm not a all gray person. I need to put some color into it. So I had to add my chartreuse. You know, I like my chartreuse, and that might be just the only thing I add, you know, and then it'll be gray for the rest of the thing. But I also took my dark color and I made it the background color. But then I also changed it to be stockinette and pearls for the stripes. I alternated it. So the thing is, and I gradiated it out, you know, back and forth. But now I wish I hadn't posted it online, because people are asking, oh, how do you do it? It's like, I just kind of did. I got the idea from a book I had just gotten, but you know, I kind of had to budget at the end of adding some clandestine stitches, you know, to make it come to 85 stitches at the end for each side. But you know, I'm very happy with it, and I know that in the scheme of things, it's going to be, you know, when you listen to him talking about it, it sounds like this is the simple thing. The craziness, it sounds like, is happening clue 3, clue 4. So, you know, let's let this be simple so that we can just go wild and this will be the diving board for wonderful things to come.
Thanks.
So there you go.
Thank you. Michelle, would you like to unmute yourself?
Hello, everyone. First of all, I wanted to thank you, Irina and Martin, and hosting this this event. I found you, I wasn't part of the group last year, but I found you on YouTube when I was looking at different things. You know, I'm thankful for YouTube's algorithms for suggesting the recordings from the last two meetings. So thank you both for the time and effort that you put into this. And then secondly, I was working from the written pattern, so I wasn't working with the videos because I'm quite a slow knitter and relatively new to knitting as well. And so I was just working my way slowly through it. And then I found out about the controversy. And for me, there was no doubt in my mind that I was going to have to frog it. So because I had stayed up like many people in this chat till 1 o'clock in the morning to try and keep pace so that I could unfold. And I know it's not a race, but I wanted to kind of participate in real time with a project. I just put it in hibernation over the weekend. My original colors included dark red. So, and I had gotten half of it done. So I knew right away what was, what the people meant by the symbol. So I thought that I was very inspired by Stephen's color blocking with the greens. So like you, Dorothy, I pulled out some chartreuse and I'm going to recycle 2 of the colors from the original one. And then I'll also add in a bright orange to kind of have that 5th color with some mohair to kind of, I mean, of course, orange and chartreuse are great retro colors, I think, to have. So that's kind of that's the direction that I'm going to go. I'm going to go in. And so, and to me, I mean, both the Stephen West community, because I've participated in knit-alongs as a spectator sport in previous years, which means that I've watched all of you knitting beautiful, beautiful shawls. But is that when I travel for work or when I go to places where people are selling yarn and I see someone wear a Stephen West shawl, I mean, I know all of his patterns, and so I recognize them, and so I know who these people, who they are, and I will often say a few words. You know, I really admire your shawl, and to me, because the point of knitting the shawl for me is to be part of a community. The idea of saying that I could run into someone, and I could have a modified clue, and they could not. It was kind of like creating a division within the community in terms of, you know, the public display. And I agree that knitting takes a lot of time and our knitting time is precious. At the same time, the shawl we will hopefully wear for many years, and there will be many opportunities to bump into people. And when we see what our square is going to be, we're going to know whether it's a person who, you know, who embraces the community, the values of tolerance and the shift in design direction that Stephen wanted to take, or it's going to be something else. And when I come across maybe one of you one day in an airport or in a yarn store or in a yarn community, I want to be able to show that I'm square, so to speak, even though trying to fit a round into a square is indeed a challenge. I'm using DPNs for now, and I'm still only on the first color, so it's going to take me some time to, it'll take me some time to catch up. And I just don't think that this is going to be good travel knitting. So I may fall further behind, but it is what it is. So thank you again, Irina, Martin, and it's great to see all of you.
Thank you for joining our group.
Thank you.
Isabel, do you want to unmute yourself?
Well, hello. I'm very happy to be here. And I was, last time we met on this Zoom, I was from the team I Keep My Original, and in fact, I finished it. And then came the video, Stephen's video, and I said, no. It cannot be, you have heard too much, you cannot say you don't know, you cannot pretend and all that. So I didn't rip it off because I thought if I can't do it, at least I have my first one. So it's not ripped off yet, but now it will be ripped off. So I decided I would do something like a windmill, which was one of Stephen's propositions very early. It was a blue drawing with letters 1A to B. I don't remember the numbers. and I tried to do it. And I put a picture on my Instagram, and it's all twisted. I don't have the pattern, and I cannot do it. I do it at first. I think I did it the wrong side. No way. So this one, I ripped it off, and I decided, okay, I've seen people doing it, crochet centers, square crochet centers. So I'm going to use the Judith Magic cast on. So I will start with a square, but it will be knitted because I don't feel like doing crochet. And I decided I would use every single part of the drawings of Stephen, and I would use them and I would mix them up my way with my colors. And here I am, hoping I can finish it. So you can see some slip stitches. I don't know if it's very clear.
Wow, I can see the pattern on the top that looks like one of previous year's MKALs.
Yes, yes. I hope to be able to put some bubbles inside. So I must say it has really challenged my creation, because I can follow a pattern, I can arrange it if I don't know how to work it out, but creating my own thing, I cannot do it. So now I'm just going bigger and inserting many places, many stitches of Stephen, and this is a homage à Stephen. I'm French, so I can only say it in French, which I suppose the center of the shawl.
Thanks, Isabel. Debbie,
Thank
would
you.
like to unmute yourself?
Yes, yeah, same thing, you know, all the range of emotions and everything. And I did not see the video because I don't look at the spoilers, so I didn't watch it all the way through. And so I wasn't even aware until like Friday afternoon with it. And by Saturday morning, I pretty much decided I was going to do something else and saw the other like pinwheel variations. But then I showed it to my husband, and my husband is like the extreme amount of colorblindness that you can be. And I don't know if people are aware, but colorblind people see things within patterns that we who have color vision don't see. If you ever look at a colorblind test, they will see certain numbers and we see other numbers. And so even within the modified pinwheel version, he saw the symbol in some of them, even when people with color vision didn't see it. So it was an easy decision. I frogged all of mine and I've used most of my pieces. My daughter actually designed a way to do it where you do the triangles and add them on from the center out. And the colors are just varied a little bit. So mine is done and all ready to go. But yeah, and I think I really wanted to raise my hand and just say that like people who continued on and people who did the pinwheel need to realize that there are people in the world who are going to see it no matter what. Even if your pinwheel to you only looks like a pinwheel, that pattern has the ability to produce that for people who don't have color vision. So
yeah.
Thank you. Badri, wanna unmute yourself?
Hi guys. Hi Martin, hi Irina. So I'm coming from it a little bit different perspective. You know, like most people, I'm a knitter. Surprise. I've also kind of dabbled with just, and if you as a knitter do something a little different with your pattern, you're a little bit of a designer, you know, anything. Even if you design someone else's shawls, I mean, come on, we knit and we can maybe put ourselves in somebody else's shoes and see that, you know, even if, you know, I didn't see it right away, I was just kind of like, ooh, from a whole different perspective, because a friend of mine actually overwhelmed me with beautiful emotion, and she's a well-known yarn dyer, and she asked me to do the geogradient as a sample for her. And so I was like, wow. So like that all hit me. And then And then that was a little while ago, and then I'm all excited as usual for the MKAL, and and I have been a West knitter for a long time. For whatever reason, during the pandemic, I started a Facebook group. So like I'm also the admin of a Facebook group called the Westknit Kittens. So I have a few things to say from like a couple of different perspectives. As a as someone who likes to think of themselves as kind of dabbling in design, even if I don't publish, I was kind of very confused with all the controversy because I was like, oh no, oh poor Stephen. When I woke up, I guess it was Friday morning, and saw all the stuff that people were saying, and some friends were letting me know, and I was like, oh no. And then to hear that people, it's like, okay, so even today, not even a week ago, people were begging Stephen to tell them what to do. If he had said cast on, a 3-stitch I-cord and away we go with clue 1, that's what you were going to do. If he was going to tell us to cast on a garter tab cast on, that's what you were going to do. And people were so freaked out by him saying, no, let's pivot. This is not okay. So like, I didn't understand the upset in that direction. And obviously, I had a little bit of a cushion because I'm doing this for someone else as a sample, and I'm kind of in for whatever is the thing I'm supposed to do. So I pivoted immediately, and I feel like I've gotten a lot done from having to do all the adminning, and and try to be gentle with people and understand. And I do like, I don't race to get to the end of clue 1 before Thursday. I have before, and the only time I've ever done it was when I just happened to have time, and I happened to be really fast at knitting that for whatever reason, and I have gotten it done in time before. I'm not, I'm okay. So this is my clue 1. Not doing too bad. I really liked the first time I saw the eyelets. If you're going to do the eyelets, the first time I saw it, my friend Lisa she showed her completed clue 1, and I was like, how did you do the I-cord in the middle? Like, I thought it looked like an I-cord to me, and I'm like, what a cool homage to like Westknit stuff. And she said, oh no, it's just the eyelets. So so if you're doing the eyelets, it's gonna look a little bit like an I-cord,
Nice.
that we like. Yeah. So I did start with, I'd gotten through, I think, almost to the end of clue 2. I had a bunch of crazy stuff happen last Thursday. So I was almost at the end of section 2 of clue 1. And then I woke up the next morning ready to go, and okay, so that's not going to happen. Another friend had followed like another person's deviation, pivoting, and had gone, I don't know if some of you guys saw like the joining hands looking thing, and I was like, that's actually like, we want to make a statement, against, to stand for, for what's right. And so I was going to do that one, and then when it came, the first new video came out with just the directions, I said, okay. And I texted my friend who I'm not sure if she wants, me to mention who she is. So, I'm going to be, do the right thing. And I texted her, and she said, just, I trust you. And so I was like, oh, good. So, so I was very grateful that Stephen came up with a whole new, the new clue 1, and so that's what I'm going with. And I do encourage people to go, to, even if you knitted a square, like I had somebody in the group say, in the Facebook group that I admin, say, I'm going to frog it and just give it to the birds and little animals to make nests out of, you know, or save it in a little corner and until you're ready to let it go and say, wow, this was a lot, like, ha ha, you know, 20 years from now, ha ha, can you believe that all happened? Or, you know, whatever. But yeah, I encourage people to go with the pivot clue. And yeah, it's really, you know, I think it's really amazing, you know, that he even acknowledged it. It's kind of like, I was in the entertainment industry for like a little while, and like, come on, you know, whole TV shows have to yank an episode sometimes for um to real life events, you know. It's like something, they'll have to put something out and it'll say similarities to real life events.
Right.
You know, and that's what this reminds me of. That's all this reminds me of. Like, I'm a little appalled at like some of the extremely heated, you know, because I don't know, it might be true, you know, in that case, like, some people might be really upset that they're, you know, the episode they started and had to, but like, you know, I just think it's really, you know, in the scheme of things, you know, in life, you know, it's really not as big a deal, you know. You know, you and I were talking about it, like it's just a little bit of knitting.
Right. I know you're super busy and you've been very busy with keeping your group afloat and like trying to keep it civil. So I appreciate you joining us today. It was really nice to see you again.
Oh yeah, definitely. Anything, you know, and I'm glad I actually didn't, you know, lose my words this time.
Thank you. Martin, before we continue, because I know some people, we usually like to keep it to an hour and we're already a little over an hour. Tell us your thoughts, share your thoughts. Pivoting and restarting.
Casting on the second triangle. Oh my word. I should have just put it down and concentrated and chatted to you all. How I dropped. Oh, honestly.
That's going to be on Vlogtober, right?
It will be. Yeah, because literally just for this, like, right, I'm just going to go and join Irina now. I'll have the second triangle finished later. I'm going to start the third tonight.
Well, I'll show you mine.
But if anything is this MKAL, it's dropping a stitch on a Zoom call and having to start again. But I'm like you, right? So I'm doing the triangle. Ines, the square that will be the 4 triangles, and then you alternate the color. So I love it, and it's looking so good. And it is a bit fiddly to pick up the stitches when you don't then drop them as well. But yeah, you know, for those of you that watch my Vlogtober, I talked a little bit about it, but I said, like last time, I was absolutely 2/3 through and I wasn't pivoting. And then I saw his last video and I was just like, done, simple decision made. You hear how emotive it was for him and how heartfelt why he was asking folks to do it. It was like, I get it.
Right. I'll show you mine, and you can't really see it well on the camera, but I started with the same colors, and then I wanted to add a little more joy back into it because I felt like with all the controversy, it was weighing down on me, and I was like really stressing over all the comments that I was getting and how I'm going to answer. So what I did, and I don't know if you guys can see it, but I added a little sparkle to it. So there is some great silver sparkle. It's hard to see. You can see some bronze sparkle on this row. So this is my way to add a little joy back into this MKAL project for me and help me remember that we're going from the place of love out to the joy of knitting, enjoying it. The next meeting we're gonna hold is gonna be on October 13, and that's for anybody who is in Australia and New Zealand, and any of you who are able to join, please join us as well. So it's gonna be on October 13, Friday, or it's gonna be Thursday, Saturday in Australia, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So figure out like where you're in the world and what time it's your time. But that's going to be Friday. And then the next one is going to be again Saturday at 1 p.m. So the same time we started today. And I hope you can join all our future meetings or as many as you have time for. We love having you here. Maria, can you try to unmute?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, the lighting's really bad. I'm at work. Thank you so much for hosting this, Irina and Martin. I kind of linger in the background a lot of times. But for this, I was a little bit slow, like getting started. I'm an embrace your pace type person. And when everyone was talking about ripping out, any project I have, pretty much, I have to rip out at least 5 times if it's fiddly, unless it's fun. So socks are my thing. But where was I going with this? Oh, so I saw the first clue, then I had to work and it was late, and then I saw something else come out for the second clue saying it was easier. And I'm like, oh, that's me. I'm gonna do that. So I started that, and then I found out all about, I was just kind of late with everything. And so I mean, but immediately I did show it, I showed it to my husband, and it was, there's no question. We both really didn't see it, but just to hear him, it was just heartbreaking. And so I don't know if you can see so I have this tiny little square. Can you see? Sort of round thing.
Yeah.
That's it for now.
It's a beautiful beginning.
Yes.
New beginning.
So, but that's it. I'm just grateful to be able to be here and participate. And Irina, I will see you at Rhinebeck.
Thank you. I'm waiting for it. I'm going to be there Saturday at 12 p.m. on Podcasting Hill. Or if you see me anywhere, please just stop me to say hello.
I will. Thanks so much.
I want to thank everyone for joining us today. It really means your support, your sharing your thoughts with us. It's very brave of you to be able to join us during these times, because I know it's like there's so much controversy. It's not easy to put yourself out there. And I really want to thank you for that. It means a lot. Your support means a lot to us, and it makes all the difference for us to even people who disagree with us, just to be able to like talk it over and hear different opinions, hear different backgrounds, influences, and everything. It made it easier for us to make these decisions. Hopefully it made it easier for you to make a decision that which way you decided to go. I can't wait for the second clue. I'm super excited about the second clue, whether you're gonna have the first clue finish on time or not. I'm still super excited about it coming out. And I hope it's gonna turn into like as joyful over MKAL as we usually have, or even more so because it has such an important message. Like through all this controversy, I think it's gonna make it even more meaningful for all of us.
Yeah, agree.
So thank you so very much. I hope to see you Friday and Saturday, or if not, we're going to continue with it. The only time I'm not doing this Zoom is when I'm going to be at Rhinebeck on Saturday, the 20th. So that's going to be the only time so the only one is it's not on the schedule. So the schedule, you can see, I'm going to put it under this Zoom. It's also on the previous Zooms. There's complete schedule. It's the same meeting ID, the same password as you used for this one. So please continue to join us if you can. We really appreciate your company and your support and your sharing your thoughts with us. And till next time, happy knitting.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.